Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know Show. I am Jim McPhee, and right there is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, everybody? What's up, know-it-alls? Welcome back for another show. Listen, this is going to be crazy, but we're going to dive in a little bit about the head coaches, talk about the vacancies, the firings, maybe what teams are looking for. But also, we're going to touch on the games, the playoffs. What a tremendous playoff tree there is. Some teams that are not familiar with being there, and then some teams that we're like, wait, what happened to the Chiefs this season? You know, they didn't make the playoffs for like the 10th year in a row or something like that. So that's a crazy thing about this NFL. This season has taught us nothing but you never know what to expect.
Yeah. Everybody that looked for parity, this is the season. We got it. Finally. Here it is. And although you do see some of the same suspects in there, like, you know, teams like the 49ers, the Rams, but the Bills again, but everything else, the thing is, no team has really come out to be that standout team that say, hey, these guys are just dominating the league right now. And that's even to be said about the Seattle Seahawks, who are currently at the number one seed in the NFC, and including the Denver Broncos. With their, 9 straight games or whatever they have won, still questions about that offense. Defense is good. We get that. And we know that's what they rely on. But some of the games that they won, you know, they offensively didn't really play the best. They didn't have to have, you know, Bo Nix do a whole lot here. The defense was turning the ball over, creating scores too on top of it, holding teams off, you know, pressuring quarterbacks that normally could get it done. So it's wide open. So it's going to be interesting to talk about teams out there that are still alive. Let us know what you guys think too when we get down and into it. But the big news right now, we talked about it last night on the Blindside Blitz. It's Black Monday has gone by, you know, 6-7 job openings now. And the Harbaugh thing yesterday was great, and people are still humming about it. Is it crazy?
Mind-blowing.
And if you're the Baltimore Ravens, how are you after that day that you fire him? Within 45 minutes, you're hearing that teams are calling him, and teams that are even that have there's more openings, there's less openings than teams that called them. And then they're still talking about it today. Like, oh, you got to jump on this. And you got to be the Ravens, got to be like, what did we do? You know, the fact, you know, that we just let this guy go. And then there's so many people just ready to take him right back up. But, you know, as more things are coming out, you're hearing more stuff, you know, from under the scenes, behind the scenes. And a lot of it has stemmed between the disconnect between Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson. And it seems like Harbaugh tried to be that bridge and just couldn't hold it together anymore. So he, you know, had talked about, you know, if he was going to be involved in stepping away or not. And what I'm hearing now, because at first you're hearing that maybe it was a mutual thing and stuff. But as I'm hearing, like, I think Jeremy Fowler had brought up the fact that they were expecting that he was going to be there still in 2026, but all of a sudden the owner decided to make the call here and brought down the axe and fired John Harbaugh.
So new information happened in the last 24 hours. A lot of people were kind of pointing out the finger, like, "Oh no, he lost the team in the locker room," and you know, the refusal for firing the offensive coordinator was true, but losing the locker room wasn't. It turns out that like you just mentioned, like nobody expected him to be gone. They were looking into 26, and the shock and awe that circulated through the building when the decision was given and made official. We're talking staff, coaches, players, yes, Lamar Jackson, everybody lined up to say their goodbyes to John Harbaugh. I mean, there was crying going on. It was an emotional event that took place in the facilities of Baltimore. And it was like listen, it was a very like kind of sentimental type of very touching type of atmosphere A lot of players didn't expect this, and even though they might have had their differences throughout the season, they didn't expect this. They didn't expect John Harbaugh to be saying, "You know what? We're gonna go in a different direction. Harbaugh, you're fired. Go find a different job," which he'll have no problems doing at all. Um, in fact, everybody that is looking for a head coach, he just immediately jumped up to number 1
Yeah.
as their top priority. So that there's no secret there. We know what John Harbaugh is. The Ravens players and the staff knows what he is. He's a winning football coach, and this is a rarity where a coach of his caliber just becomes basically a free agent right away. Um, for having a career record of 180 wins and 113 losses, I mean, what Ravens like? I don't understand. I'm still perplexed on this whole situation. I just don't understand. You don't fire a coach who's been there for 18 years. He has an 18-year career that's it's exceptional. It is what it is, and for you to make this decision to move on just because what? You want a change of face, you want someone younger maybe, you want I don't know what the direction is for Baltimore going forward. In fact, we have a couple ideas, that makes the most sense, but right now, John Harbaugh also have learned that Harbaugh is holding off till next week to take any interviews. He's not taking any interviews in the upcoming days, not over the weekend. It's gonna be next week is when I think he's just letting it marinate, letting it see what kind of, offers or what teams are interested in him. Obviously, everybody. Uh,
Mm.
Next week seems like the week where they start to book some maybe visits. Maybe it's just a virtual interview, who knows? But, he's by no means gonna have a hard time finding one.
Yeah. The once it opened up that he was available, you saw what the interest was.
Mhm.
Now he and his camp know the ball's in his court. They already knew that, but now they're just like, all right, we're gonna sit back and relax. We're not getting
That's right.
pressured. There's no pressure on us
No rush.
at all.
There's no rush.
We have
No
seriously
rush.
people, and what's funny, what I'm hearing too is the people that have reached out to him that currently have coaches just want him to say, yes, I am coming before we fire our guy. Like, really? Like, who don't know? Like, that's seriously, that really sounds like that person that's trying, that's dating somebody, but not really that happy. And then they see somebody and they're like, oh man, this could be the one or whatever, but they're waiting for that person to definitely buy into them before they dump their other one. So it's in Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh, the ball's in his court. He doesn't need to do
Of
that. He's
course.
like, no, whatever. You show me if you want me this bad. I mean, how great would that be? He's like if it is the Dolphins,
What
Mike
yeah.
McDaniel, yeah, I want to see you fire McDaniel. Show me how much you love me. Right. And then they do. And then he's like, yeah, but I'm not really going to go there. I'm not interested.
And
But
that's
he wanted
here's
to see how
right,
dedicated
but
you were.
here's the crazier thing is the fact that there's rumors, and I know they're just rumors at the moment,
Yeah.
but there's also some people within the organization that have kind of leaked out information from the Miami Dolphins that, hey, yeah, they're definitely interested. And so much so that they're gonna have these phone call conversations and whatnot. But how does that make McDaniels feel right now? So here's the thing is if you're the Dolphins right now, you have no idea what you're doing at quarterback right now. Tua may be on the outs. It seems like that's the direction that they're going. You're going to keep McDaniels, but wait a second. Oh, now that Harbaugh is available, hey, John, what's going on, buddy? We want to bring you down to Miami. Beautiful weather. You know what I mean? I mean, it's great down here. We need you to come down here. It's all well and good, but now that you've expressed interest, and nothing's official, like they haven't come out publicly and said anything. However, there's people that have been talking. They've been
Hmm.
talking the last 24 hours,
Hmm.
and some people really believe. Some people close to the situation really do believe that they are going to pursue full steam ahead John Harbaugh. Now, what's to say? Like you just mentioned, Jim, it doesn't work out. They can go full steam ahead all they want, but what if Harbaugh's like, you know what? No quarterbacks there. The offensive line was shaky last year. The defense needs a lot of help. There's a lot going on down there. And oh, by the way, you don't have the most or one of the teams that have the most cap space either to like really kind of maybe turn it around quicker.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna pass. Now, oh, McDaniels, hey, what's up, buddy? No, what are you talking about? I mean,
Mhm.
I want out.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be gone. Like they could burn a couple of bridges here and then be left with not only no head coach if they don't handle it correctly and they don't have a head coach, they got to find it somewhere else now. And then in the meantime, the quarterback situation is very unresolved.
Oh, yeah, definitely, and the fact that he is saying, "I'm gonna wait it out a weekend," that just tells me that he is looking he knows he has the power. He's gonna
Mhm.
sit it out this weekend.
Oh yeah.
We really do expect that if the Bills get beat by the Jacksonville Jags,
Mhm.
that McDermott is out. We
Yeah.
firmly believe too, that these things should come to play. Uh, the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they lose, that Mike Tomlin is gone. So, are those teams a better fit or a better, sexier thing for Harbaugh? Does that entice him? Teams that are already in the playoffs, teams, that have still, like with the Steelers, they've been around forever. They the steel curtain, they have that aura to them. Go coach them, be another great head coach for the Steelers. The Buffalo Bills, can he right the ship here and get that defense, hire a good defensive coordinator, get that going like Baltimore has been known for years. And now you have Josh Allen also, they've got this franchise quarterback right there. Get him some help. Is that more intriguing to him? Is that why he's taking a play? So I think now that he's said that too, some of these other teams that were desperate to get him are just like, yeah, we look like my team, the Giants, even the Falcons, for what they have set up and how good they look on paper, that they just came up short. That you're like, oh, this could work this time, and now you're like, oh no, now the Bills are in play. Like, oh, I don't know,
It's funny.
So
It's funny that you mentioned the Falcons because our boy Rise Up is chiming in, and he's got to
oh,
say,
nice.
let's fucking go." He's like, "Raheem is gone, Clint Kubiak for head coach," and that's another candidate right now that is being heavily sought after because of the lack of offensive talent in the coaching circles that's left. Like, let's be honest, it's Clint Kubiak, it's Cliff Kingsbury,
Mhm.
and maybe you could throw in Mike LaFleur. But really, only 2 out of those 3 have experience, have been there, done that, have called plays, have had success with being a play caller. Mike LaFleur, he's underneath Sean McVay with the Rams. He's never been given the playbook and say, "Hey, it's all you this game. You make the calls." So he's an up and comer in the interleague circles. He's an up and comer, definitely. However, are you going to put trust in him with no experience? It's to roll the dice. It
Mhm.
is. It
Mhm.
could pan off. It might not pan off. But then you also got these guys like Cliff Kingsbury and Clint Kubiak that are proven. This is where I know Rise Up said like he wants Clint Kubiak, but and I think there's a lot of teams that are searching for that offensive minded guy, and it seems to be on the tip of everybody's tongue that Clint Kubiak is the guy to go after. You know what I mean? Not so much Cliff Kingsbury, who has had head coaching experience, offensive coordinator experience. So do you want to go with more experience or do you want to go with the guy who's the shiny new toy, so to speak, who's I think he's about 38 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a young coach, brilliant mind, and look at what he's done wherever he's been. He was with
Mhm.
the Saints with Derek Carr. The first 4 to 5 games, that Saints offense looked like it was playoff bound. It looked ridiculously good. And then obviously injuries mounted up. They lost Derek Carr and it kind of just fell off the wheels. So, and then now look what he's done. He's gone from the Saints to the Seattle Seahawks, and in his first year with Seattle, this offensive line is playing better, and I understand they added to it, but then they bring in Sam Darnold. They move on from Geno Smith, bring in Sam Darnold, new quarterback, new system for everybody to learn, and he's done it again. He's had success again. So you got a couple of years where you can make the case that Yeah, he's the hottest offensive mind right now. He's definitely younger. He's got that modern offensive, and he does stem from Kyle Shanahan from the 49ers, that he's underneath that tree. So he does typically have a heavy run to balance type of offense,
Mhm.
and it's working. So what's to say, like, if a team like Atlanta, you know,
Yep.
and that's the thing with the Falcons too, is
Yep.
what happens now if you bring in an offensive minded guy, that defense has been playing really rock solid, has been playing better, and now you go into the offseason, you just got to work on the offense. But are you staying with Penix? That's the thing, is if, let's just say, for example, a guy like Clint Kubiak takes that job in Atlanta, and it is an attractive job. You got a lot of young pieces. You got to be able to re-sign Kyle Pitts. I don't think you want to let that guy walk out into free agency. He'll be snatched up in a second. But you have some decisions to make, especially re-signing some guys like Pitts and whatnot. But then also, I mean, you got some decisions to make what you want to do going forward at quarterback. That's critical. Are you going to maybe flip the script and say, hey, Penix tends to get hurt all the time. Maybe we're going to sit him down. Maybe we just rock with Kirk Cousins. You know, he just redid his deal, making it a little bit cheaper. Now they could move on from him. Maybe that's the reason why they did it. But it also could mean that whatever coach comes into play, maybe they want Kirk Cousins as their quarterback going forward. Who knows? Rise Up also says the Kubiak system with Bijan and Drake and a healthy MPJ would be lethal. It would, because he's a very good offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And I get all that. Like, it would be a really good fit for him for sure.
Right. I think what they've got going on in Seattle with Charbonnet and Walker the third, he can do that same type of deal here with Bijan. You've got Algier and you know that loaded backfield too,
Oh, wait,
and where they are. So,
that's the other part. Tyler
mhm,
Algier is also due to be a free agent.
mhm,
And I don't think
mhm.
you're going to pay him big bucks to be a backup behind Bajan.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
and the wide receivers are coming around too. So I feel like they restructured the contract for Kirk Cousins so he can go somewhere else potentially, and they can. It was an easier pill to swallow if they can release him pre-June to save themselves on the cap, where all that money gets moved to 2027 and not next year, so it doesn't hurt them in the
right,
short term, real quick, you know, for against their cap for the next following for this year. So.
right.
Uh,
And that's
so
the
who
other
knows?
thing.
But then that opens it up for quarterbacks when you talk about different quarterback situations. The way this draft is, we said the Raiders here are number one. Most likely they go quarterback, and
Mhm.
then any of the teams here that are still looking for a quarterback, what do they go for? There's no other quarterbacks that stand out in this class right now to people. Kirk Cousins now he's looking for to play still. Does somebody kind of fill that gap with a Cousins instead?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is they redid his deal before the Terry Fontenot firing.
Hmm.
So, with the mindset that now they have an option, and whatever coach takes this job, that's their decision. They might want to keep Kirk Cousins as the starter. So if that's the case, then he's going to be staying in Atlanta. Penix will just turn into a backup at that point. So I feel like there's still decisions that have to be made, and I don't think they're going to move on from Kirk Cousins unless whatever coach does come into Atlanta, he's got to make those decisions.
Yeah,
So, like you were talking about, look at the quarterbacks. This is a terrible year in terms of depth at quarterback for the draft. So if you don't have the number one overall pick, then you're pretty much screwed. And there's several teams. Look at Cleveland Browns. Now, say what you want to say about Shador, whether you like him, dislike him, or indifferent, but he hasn't really proven that he's the guy yet. He's made some flashes here and there, and that's all well and good. It was a rookie year. He's only had 1 year. But what's to say that the Browns might not be comfortable with either quarterback, Dylan Gabriel or Shador? Maybe they're looking for a quarterback to come in. Maybe you bring in a Kirk Cousins, who can be not only the veteran presence, but also
I don't see that
Shador can
happening at
learn
all.
underneath him,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
No,
And then
yeah.
And then you have other then there's definitely other teams like Arizona Cardinals. They're gonna need a quarterback. Miami, we don't know what's gonna happen with that messed up situation down south. So, there are gonna be teams that are not picking in the upper echelon of the draft, that are quarterback needy teams, that are definitely going to be interested in a guy like Kirk Cousins.
I think it would be the Jets, if anything. They've got some money to spend, and it's a bridge right now. The quarterback's not there for them right now. They're picking fairly high. So grab a Kirk Cousins and then just move on, trying to build your team until that next guy can show up. And maybe by then Aaron Glenn will be out already. And now you've got an offensive minded guy to kind of pick the guy that he wants and, work with him and develop the quarterback.
But that's the thing, though, is it's different with the Jets. Is I kind of thought that the Jets might move on from Aaron Glenn, and they haven't. And it sounds like they're going to stick with him. So when you don't have an
at least this
offensive-minded
next year.
guy, you need quarterback. Now it makes sense that that could be another option for Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're picking second overall and you're going to take a quarterback, that quarterback, I'm telling you, is not going to sit. They're not going to sit him.
Well, they're not
He's
going to
gonna-
pick
he's gonna
one.
be out
They're
there
not going to take
playing.
a quarterback this year. If they do,
You
it's
don't
going
think
to be
you
like
don't think the Jets aren't?
I think they are like not the first round.
I think if Dante Moore comes out, they're taking him. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't think so.
100%. You don't get to pick this high too often. And even though the Jets have been picking somewhere in the top 15, top 10, it's usually been on the lower end. So when you're picking this high, like you don't really pass up an opportunity to take a quarterback because there's no guarantee. Because if Aaron Glenn does in fact improve this team, even a little bit, they're going to win 4 or 5 games. You win 4 or 5 games, even if you're still have a losing record, those 4 or 5 games that you won are going to put you down into the tens, maybe even the teens. So there's no guarantee that the Jets will be back here again. So I mean that's kind of where I think it would be smart, like you mentioned. Maybe you bring in a guy like a Kirk Cousins if he's available, at least for insurance purposes, will be the starter for next year. And then you still take that quarterback. So there's a lot of scenarios that have to play out, obviously. But again, the wide spectrum of what could happen is so unpredictable right now. We like with all these coaching hires and stuff, they are going to also have their say. Whatever these teams end up with a coaching staff, it's going to dictate the personnel moves that going forward. It's going to dictate what they want to do in their direction. So I can't wait for it.
Yeah, and the Cleveland thing is a really tough situation too because you do have the young quarterbacks there. You still have Deshaun Watson there, and the money that you invested in him. The cap hit, I think I heard it today. It was something like 89 million or something. It was like ridiculous, like a huge hit. It's like, dude, how do you expect for a guy to kind of rebuild a team or get a team going with that kind of disadvantage already? So, and it's tough because that's where Kevin Stefanski kind of failed because he did have good players on his team too and personnel and just didn't get it done. And with a defense that you have that's secure there too, if you can find that offensive minded guy to kind of get one of these quarterbacks going, who it might be, I think, and keep them in the building, then you move forward, and that's the best bet and the best option. And for a lot of people saying that the Raiders or the Ravens need to get that toughness back, that defensive minded guy, that toughness. This is Weaver from whatever he knows the Ravens about. I don't think that's exactly the thing here. The team doesn't always have to be what they've been for the last 40 years. All right. You're not defined by even just, they just played tough defense and this. Once Lamar Jackson got drafted by the Ravens, that changed your perspective of the Ravens. That changed who you are. That's your identity. He's your team. That's your identity. That's who you are, whether he screws up or he does well. It's all defined by what Lamar Jackson does. Defense, yes, you can still have a good defense, but I feel like to have success, especially now that when they've moved on for their post offensive coordinator, now he's here with the Chargers and now disgruntled with Todd Monken. I think you really need to hire an offensive guy that's going to stick with him and be there for the long run until he's done. Not get a defensive coordinator that hires an offensive coordinator that he likes, but then might get handpicked from somebody else to get a head coaching job somewhere else that might be there for 2 years. I think you need a guy that's going to be there to get that offense going, because that's kind of been the issue. I understand the defense this year not so good, but some injuries here and there. The offense at times has not showed up when it needed to be.
Mhm.
That's the thing about the Harbaugh firing that really bothers me too. You get the success and everybody's, oh, look at the accolades, but what did they get? They didn't get past there. Well, I'm sorry. He's not Mark Andrews in the end zone catching a wide open ball. He's not Derrick Henry fumbling the ball. He's not Lamar Jackson missing throws. Those were all reasons why they lost playoff games. He's not out there doing that. That's the players. Players have to, contribute, and they have to make the plays. You know what I'm saying? He can only call the plays, or he can just, manage everybody. He is not out there playing, so they have to take, credit for that too.
Yeah, I mean, with the Baltimore situation now, it only points to one direction. I mean, in my opinion, we heard the news that broke with Cliff Kingsbury and the Washington Commanders mutually parting ways is how they like to word it, because Cliff believes that he had a better opportunity. So this is the same job that he chose to go to last year, uh, and or to take over this team 2 years ago with Jaden Daniels that they drafted to pair
Yeah.
him up with this mobile quarterback with
Mhm.
high-end talent with his throwing arm and all that, and everything was, like, working. Everything was falling into place for Washington. And now, since they've decided to have a divorce,
Mhm.
that could only mean one thing.
Yeah.
It seems an awful big coincidence here is John Harbaugh gets fired, who's one of the best head coaches, but now Cliff Kingsbury believes he has a better opportunity somewhere. This seems like a marriage made in heaven here for Baltimore and Cliff Kingsbury to bring him in. He can be the head coach. He can have this innovative, creative offense that he loves to run with mobile quarterbacks. And think about this: you have a quarterback in Lamar Jackson that has a lot of experience already. He's not Jaden Daniels, who's still kind of young and still working on his development. But now you're going to take on a team that is more suitable to win now. You can step in that role. He will work greatly with Lamar Jackson in this offense, getting these guys on cue, executing these plays, having some misleading type of RPOs and options for him. So I think this is just a shoe in. I think Cliff Kingsbury, we're going to hear in the coming days that Cliff Kingsbury agrees to be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. And if that is the case, I'm pretty sure Cliff is with the agreement of keeping the current coaching staff in place. That you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about the defensive coordinator change. You don't have to worry about most of the staff. Now, he's going to want to bring maybe a few guys here and there, especially offensive side.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
totally going to be him. He's going to
Yeah.
bring in his own offensive staff, the guys that he wants in place, and maybe he does agree to keep the defensive guys intact, in place. Don't miss a beat on the defense, and let the offense thrive underneath him.
Yeah, because even when Mariota's out there this year, he didn't look terrible. I mean, so you got to say something for that too, as well. So I think that's a better fit. It makes sense, and I feel like the deal's already done. They're just giving it a grace period. It's a little too soon, right, Joe? It's a little too soon. The divorce. Hey, sorry to let you go. It's kind of abrupt, and then all of a sudden they've already got your next guy in, waiting to just start taking your stuff out of your desk and start
Yeah,
putting his pictures up of his family.
it's
So
crazy. It's
yeah,
absolutely crazy because when
yeah,
you think about it, even the Miami situation, right?
yeah,
Like, what happens if they get John Harbaugh? And then it's like McDaniels, "Oh, yeah, by the way, you're freaking fired.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Pack up your bag, get your office, take your
yeah,
pencils and pen
yeah,
and all
yeah,
that, and get out of here."
yeah.
That would be crazy too. Like, that would be another shock. And when you alluded to, Jim, earlier in the show about the playoffs, about some of the
Mhm.
matchups that do matter, that if the Bills lose, that might cost Sean McDermott's job. That might cost the Steelers with Mike Tomlin. Maybe Mike Tomlin, if they lose, maybe Mike Tomlin's gone. You're seeing something that we're not accustomed to is these other organizations that have been so rock solid for so long. They've always had the same coach in place, but now we're seeing it's getting a little rocky here. Some teams are making these tough decisions just to move on from a very good head coach, even though they don't really have to. They're just like, maybe we need a change. It's this crazy mentality. I feel like there's the loyalty is going out of the window now. Baltimore, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've been super loyal to their guys for so long, but now, even though there's no reason to get rid of them, why are we pulling the trigger to fire them? It's
Yeah.
unexplainable, really.
Yeah, and some of them still head scratchers. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers too, with dedicating themselves to Todd Bowles, I think is a little ridiculous too. But maybe that's one of the teams. Maybe
Listen,
that's one of the
hey,
ghost teams that called.
don't worry. Todd Bowles said he's good. He
Yeah.
just he let everybody know, like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
safe,
Mhm.
guys.
Safe. Don't worry
I
about it. I
met
haven't heard a thing.
I met with the front office. I'm good.
Yeah.
They don't have to make a public announcement. I'm good. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So
Which is crazy.
mhm.
Think about this. I
Yeah.
mean, Jim, we've been talking about Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles for
Yeah.
3, 4 weeks now on
Yeah.
how we don't think that he should be around anymore. His time's up. It's time to make a change. You have a offense that's well put together,
Mhm.
right? With Baker Mayfield, you got these new weapons, especially the younger guys. Um, you got a whole offense in place. The defense has some talent, but for some reason, Todd Bowles just can't get them to play better.
Yeah.
It's weird. So
Mhm.
if you've been there for several years, it's time to go. There's no improvement being shown on the defensive side.
Yeah.
You gotta help your offense out once in a while. Why is it that Baker Mayfield had to have like 4 or 5 come from behind wins because the defense couldn't hold up their end of the bargain?
Yep.
And that falls on Todd Bowles. So I don't understand why he's still safe.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you build your team, you should build your team to beat the teams in your division too. And that's why I feel like
Happens a
why
lot,
the
yeah.
the NFC East is really close a lot of times with their games because they build their teams to play against. So you're going to see these teams twice a year. So you got to
Right.
win a couple of those, if you can, even
Yeah.
split if you're possible. So and it seems like he has the toughest time with the teams within his division, teams that he plays every single year. And yes, there is some turnaround with some players, but generally they're pretty the same. At least even for the last couple of years, it's been
Mhm.
pretty consistent. So now that brings up Raheem Morris with him moving on when we talked about Atlanta. Do
Right.
you see him getting another head coaching job or just going back to becoming a defensive coordinator?
I gotta be honest, like, this is his second stint at head coach, failed yet again. You know, he's a
Yeah.
defensive-minded guy, so the defense did play better. You gotta give him credit there. He brought in his own staff and everything was working out defensively, but offense wasn't clicking all the time. Not until Penix goes down with an injury, Kirk Cousins steps in, and the offense immediately gets a little shot in the arm, and they look like, "Hey, man, if we come to think of it, maybe if we had Kirk Cousins this whole season, maybe. Who knows? Maybe we're running away with this division."
Mhm.
So that has to fall back on the head coach. It's his decision, right? Like he wanted to play Michael Penix. I understand he was young and this, that, and the other thing, and you want to get him out there. But let's just face it, facts are facts. There have been football decisions in the game. There's been football decisions with personnel and the direction that they're headed, and it just wasn't lining up. So I think after any coach that has like a downfall their first year, their first time around being a head coach, it's like you could kind of make the arguments, well, personnel wasn't up to snuff, and maybe they fired him too early, or whatever the case may be, right? Maybe you get that second chance at some point. But when you get that second chance, like Raheem Morris, and you fail yet again, there's no coming back from that.
Yeah.
And I would encourage every team out there to never hire this guy as a head coach again.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, I feel the same way. He's had success there. You go back to doing that. We've seen that with Josh McDaniels. We don't know how many times, right?
Mhm.
Trying to become a head coach just doesn't work. Go back to being one of the best offensive coordinators, of all time. Just go back to New England and making those quarterbacks great, right? So
Mhm.
just stick with that. You can make a living off of it. You're doing good, and just stay with that. If people know that you're one of the best defensive coordinators, and I think he would get another job doing that. And worst case,
Yes.
just
DC,
stick
he'll
with
be
that.
good.
Best case, yeah, hey, you can kind of rejuvenate your
DC
career,
would
and
be
then
good
maybe someone gives you another shot.
for sure.
Uh, so what do you say?
Rise up said, "Oh hell nah, Kirk is so ass. I don't want to hear that horrendous of a take
Take
again."
again. Oh
Well, guess
man.
what? Your team was playing better offensively when he was in there. So yeah, I mean the deal is the deal. Like there's nothing to say that it was a guarantee if Kirk started the whole entire season that he was going to carry him to a division win. But man, if he was able to be successful like he was with those last few weeks that he played, you saw a spark.
Yeah.
You know, Kyle Pitts started getting the ball more, started making more explosive plays. In turn, with him distributing the football here and there,
Yeah.
Drake London. I mean, Jesus, Drake London's got to
Yeah.
stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you have a guy like Bijan, it relieves a lot of pressure from your quarterback because he's such a dynamic player.
Mhm.
And rise up, I'll give you kudos on this one. Bijan Robinson is the number one
Yeah.
running back in the
Yeah.
league right now,
Yep.
hands down. Rise up said it first.
He
I
did.
agree with him.
I thought he was drinking the Kool-Aid, but, you keep watching film and, yeah, there it
Oh,
is, man. It's
you
there.
you
It's
wa
jumping out.
all you have to do is watch
Yeah.
one game.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
one game with
Yeah.
Atlanta. Watch what this guy does.
Yeah. Yep.
He's unbelievable. So, here's the thing, is now you have a tough decision. It sounds like Rise Up already made his decision. He wants to move on from Cousins. That's fine. That's all well and good. Just be prepared that if you don't have Cousins anymore and all you got is Penix and Penix fails and doesn't get any better and or just continues to get tears another ACL.
Mhm.
He's had several in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he's got one already in the
That
NFL
was the knock.
in his young career. So if he's not available or he's just not up to par, you're right back where you started again. Now you got
Mhm.
to go look for another quarterback again. Who knows? Maybe it's going to cost your next head coach's job, even whether he be good or bad. It cost him his job, and now it's like it's a mess again offensively.
Yep. Yep. All right. So we talked about the openings kind of that are there that are most enticing, I guess. I mean, Arizona, it is what it is. They've kind of gone through,
That's terrible.
head coaches, every other year. So I mean, that's ridiculous, and that's why you don't get better either. Same thing with the Jets. I mean, bad franchises do dumbest decisions like this, and this is what happens, and this is why
And
you're here.
continue to make them.
Yeah. So that's why the intriguing thing is the John Harbaugh thing. And then also if
Mhm.
McDermott goes, if Tomlin goes. So say hypothetical real quick that
Yeah.
they both those teams lose. Both those guys get fired.
Mhm.
They're obviously not going to take some of the higher teams. They're going to have a pick of their litter wherever they want to go. We're hearing
Right.
that Tomlin is probably going into not even coaching. He's going into the television, and broadcasting. So I
Right.
don't know if somebody's already heard something that he was offered a deal or something, or just they just feel like he would be a great fit.
Yeah. I
Or if
mean,
that's where he's just looking to kind of walk away after this one. I don't want to do another run, if I'm out. So what would be a good fit if they're gone? If somebody else takes their job now, where do you see them going? That would be a good fit for them.
so for McDermott, if he's available, I think the Tennessee job might be a little curiosity there for him, because the defense is actually a solid defense, and if he could show up in there and maybe with a change of scenery, different environment, and all that, like maybe he can help out even further that defense. Um, but also he still needs to worry if he was to take that job, still need to worry about the offense. You know what I mean? And that's where it's gonna get tricky. So, is he gonna hire Joe Brady? If he gets fired, then can he bring Joe Brady with him to BOC? Because Joe Brady is also another name to watch out for. I know
Yeah.
his name has been whispered, I would say. He hasn't been, hyped up or anything, but he's been out there in talks and possible maybe a couple teams would be interested in him. But, if that doesn't work out, it kinda makes a lot of sense for McDermott to take the Tennessee job, continue to work on that defense, and then you bring Joe Brady to basically just run the offense. It'll be all on him. He'll have Cam Ward to work with. We've seen Joe Brady work well with younger quarterbacks, so maybe it could work out for him. I feel like the Tennessee job to me, for McDermott, if he is available, I think that makes the most sense,
Mhm.
honestly. I mean,
I
but then
think,
again, you gotta
yeah,
wonder too, Jim, is like you mentioned before with McDermott and Tomlin, like I feel like Sean McDermott is still like he still wants to be involved. He still
yeah,
wants to be a coach. And I believe that with Tomlin too. I don't think Tomlin had any ideas of maybe taking it easy, maybe I'll take a year off. Like I feel like he would jump right back in it.
yeah, Yeah, and if they do get rid of McDermott, I wouldn't be shocked if they say when they go to think about it, say the season ends, all right, we have to have our exit meeting. We're going to talk. We're going to see how it goes. They bring in Joe Brady, who is again, people want to talk to him. They want to maybe get him hired.
Mhm.
If they do have a conversation with him, pick his brain a little bit more, like because Josh Allen doesn't want to see him go. He doesn't want to change that offense how it goes. So do
No.
they just say, hey, we're looking to move on from Sean?
Mhm.
We like what we're hearing. We're
Mhm.
looking to elevate you. Keep it
Right.
in-house. Not a big changeover. Still keep a lot of the same staff. Still just we want to get better results out of you, and then maybe change defense coordinator, whatever you want to do or whatnot. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
shocked if that happens, if also John Harbaugh is not sold on him possibly going to the Buffalo Bills, or if they're not interested.
Yeah, I don't even know if Harbaugh would entertain
Right.
Buffalo,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe he would. It is a good franchise. It's a good team to maybe
At
possibly
least it's
go
worth a
to.
visit,
Yeah, it might be
you
worth
know?
a conversation at least.
Conversation, yep.
But John Harbaugh, I envision him like the Don in The Godfather right now. Like this dude is gonna have every team at his whim. It's gonna be like, what are you offering? Maybe I'll come there. I'll call you next week. Like,
Yeah.
well, maybe we can work something out. But I mean, with McDermott moving, if he is to move on, that makes a lot of sense too, because then you can still continue the continuity that they have with
Yeah.
the staff and the players, the chemistry that's already there. Joe Brady just slides over to the head coaching seat. Now, then Joe Brady gets his choices of who to bring in for offensive coordinator to help him with the game plan. I still believe Joe Brady would call the games, there's
Mhm.
no doubt about that. But then it comes to question defense. What do you do for the defense? And the good thing about this head coaching cycle is there is no shortage of defensive coordinators or defensive minded guys that can come in and be your DC.
Yeah.
I mean, you got guys that are gonna be available, like, who knows, Jim Schwartz. Like, we
Mhm.
talked about it
Yeah.
last night about Jim
Mhm.
Schwartz and, maybe he looks to move on, someone should snatch him up. Maybe that could be an opportunity where you match up Jim Schwartz in Buffalo, who could really improve that defense,
Mhm.
and then also have Joe Brady to continue doing his thing on offense. Makes a lot of sense.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. We'll keep paying attention to this. Let us know what you guys think in the comments too about some of these coaches,
Yeah,
destinations, what you
sure.
think was it justified? Was it not? So let us
Are
know in the
you
comments.
are
We
you
appreciate
happy
you guys
with the
out there.
decision? Are you unhappy? Who's somebody that you would want? Listen, we know Rise Up. Rise Up
Yeah.
has been
He's
commenting
ecstatic.
like crazy.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said he wants the Seahawks to lose as soon as possible so we can interview Clint Kubiak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're not the only team either. Like, I feel like there's going to be at
Yeah.
least 3 or 4 teams, maybe even more than that, that are going to be really interested in Clint Kubiak, what he has done as an offensive coordinator. Can he do the same for their team? Especially if you're struggling in that area. So, um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah. He excited. Mhm.
I also want to just real quick with Mike Tomlin, right?
Mhm.
So same scenario with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. They lose. Ownership starts looking around like, I don't know. Maybe we move on from Mike Tomlin. Is Tomlin, I have to ask you this, is Mike Tomlin, if John Harbaugh's still out there when Mike Tomlin, if he does, get relieved and he's fired, who do you rank 1 and 2? Do you like John Harbaugh better or do you like Mike Tomlin above John?
I like Harbaugh better.
Okay.
I just do. I think Tomlin, you've seen different things on the sidelines, the way he acts, even too. He's got his own personality, how he handles some stuff. And I get that he can be fiery at times. He's this and that.
Mhm.
But Harbaugh, he's for most of his career, he's had Joe Flacco and just a good defense and Ray Rice at times, just personnel, getting things done and having still success, but even better success than what the Steelers have had. They just haven't been in the bottom of the barrel and in the fourth in their division. The Ravens are always contending no matter what, and the fact that they go and draft Lamar Jackson was, I think it was a 32nd pick. I think they traded back into the first to get him to like the last pick in the first round, I think it was.
Mhm.
And the Steelers, they're still searching for a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. And he was pretty much a guaranteed lock that when he came out of the draft, he was going to be a good quarterback. And
Right,
that's when you had your success, real good
right,
success. And since then,
right.
they've just been band-aiding everything.
The
And
quarterback.
any guys that you had in there that was talent worthy, either they had too many attitudes and you couldn't handle it, so you ship them away. And this is what you're left with the team here. Still getting it done, but was it all his doing? I don't think so. So I would rather stick with, a Harbaugh and what he kind of teaches in his philosophy over what Tomlin does.
Now, I think in my opinion, I think both candidates are great candidates for
Oh
the
yeah.
job.
Hmm.
Um, Mike Tomlin to me is a great manager of the game. Phenomenal. Players coach, players love him. Obviously, John Harbaugh was well loved in Baltimore. But I feel like if you want more of a guy with experience as a head coach, but also offensively, I think Harbaugh is definitely hands down the guy that would be leading your list.
Hmm.
Tomlin to me, if you're a team that you believe that if you hire Mike Tomlin, obviously you're going to have leadership, you're going to have direction, you're going to have precise decision making. That's where he shines. But who's he bringing in for the rest of his staff?
Hmm.
What's going to be the alternative when you need to find a quarterback? Like what like you just mentioned. After they had Ben Roethlisberger there for many years, and then when he retired, they never seemed to focus and get an answer there.
Hmm.
They always seem to. There's what I mean. The one thing they drafted Kenny Pickett in
Yep.
the first round, thinking that was going to be the future guy, and they swung and missed. And it's not to say like it's not hard, it's not easy to get it right the first time around. But if you don't get it right, you gotta still
Yep.
dip back into the pool, baby.
Yep.
You gotta
Yep.
keep throwing darts at that
Even
dartboard
before that, it
and
was Mason Rudolph. You know what I
and
mean? And
hopefully
just,
you can hit. Well,
hmm,
we all knew Mason Rudolph
yeah,
wasn't gonna
yeah.
be I mean, come on.
No,
But
but
like
I
I'm
mean, that's
saying,
what I
like
mean.
the
Hmm.
one time that they did draft a guy, it just didn't work. And it seemed like they just gave up on the idea.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, let's bring in this veteran. Let's bring in this guy. Let's bring in that guy. Let's bring in Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, basically.
Hmm.
We don't know what the future holds for Rodgers now. So
Yeah.
this team, maybe it's time to get out. Maybe Tomlin wants to get fired at this point because
Yeah.
they haven't gotten it right for many years and they still don't have it right. They got a guy on rental.
Hmm.
And after this year, maybe Rodgers leaves because if he wants to continue playing, maybe he just goes to a different team for another year.
Yeah. And
Become that.
I mean, he was one of the reasons he went to Pittsburgh. That was one of the first things he said in the press conference. I really love and appreciate and respect Mike Tomlin. That's
Yeah,
what brought me here.
love it.
Uh,
Although,
in nine
let's
and
be
18.
fair. Let's be fair, Aaron.
I
Let's be
like
fair.
it.
That was the only team that was all in on you.
Yeah.
The only team.
Mhm.
So yeah, I appreciate you bringing me here, and thanks so much. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, okay, it's
But
good.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be interesting if it happens, but that would just make this thing that more interesting and more to talk about and see where these guys shuffle. If some of these bigger coaches, with the winning behind them and all, the resume,
hmm,
and it just shuffled around, where do they go? But they're still coaching. I mean, that's
yeah.
interesting in itself. That's crazy. I don't know if
The
I've
other,
seen anything like that in a while.
yeah, the one thing that just kind of popped in my head when we
Yeah.
talked about Sean McDermott going to
Yep.
maybe possibly going to Tennessee, right?
Yep. Yep.
Got to bring an offensive minded guy.
Yep.
Sounds kind of funny, but what about Brian Dayball as your offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
What because you got
Yes.
familiarity.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You've coached together
Yeah.
before. Everything was working
His name
well.
is already popping up for some things like that. So
I only think Brian Dayball's name is popping up for just offensive coordinator, though.
yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
anybody's seriously giving him another head
No, no, not
coaching
a head
job.
coaching, but the offensive coordinator. And like you
Right,
said, if some people are already interested, McDermott's moving
right.
on. Let's do that, and
And
especially if they
right.
do, elevate Joe Brady. Say, hey, we're moving on from Sean McDermott. We're going to
Mhm.
elevate Joe Brady, and now McDermott goes to the Titans and say, all right, Dable, come on. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I could see that happening.
So, and that's another guy. There's also another coach that isn't really being pumped up or hyped, but he's already taking interviews, and that's a guy who took a year off, and Mike McCarthy. Mike
Yeah.
McCarthy's out there. This is a guy that everywhere he's been, he's called his own plays. He runs a really good offense. I mean, he really does a very good job, but he still continually gets fired from a from the Green Bay Packers. I mean, he was there for a long time, but then they were said kind of like John Harbaugh in a
Mhm.
sense where
Mhm.
he's had success there, but they're like, we've seen enough of you around the facility. It's time to move. And then
Yeah.
then he goes to Dallas for a short stint, and Jerry Jones decides to move on from him, even
Yeah.
though that offense was kicking asses.
Yeah.
So I that's another guy that I'd want to keep an eye on because even if he doesn't get a head coaching gig, that's another guy that you could bring in as an OC.
Mhm.
If that would be something he might be interested in.
Yeah, and this is always the debate because with McCarthy, he already has the resume on top of it. So if you go to
Yeah.
a team that is just has an owner that's in a rush to get things done now, that's what you're facing. You're like, this guy's got the resume. Here it is. And if you don't do it quick enough for you, he's like, do what the frig. All right, this guy ain't getting it done. I got to move on. I got to go somebody else. I
Mhm.
went that route. I'm going to go the young route again. I'm going to go back and forth. He's hasn't done and had this kind of success since he went and had that dinner with, what was his first head coach? I can't even think of it right now, but Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, when he brought in Jimmy Johnson, when he bought the team, set the tone, got the structure, drafted who Jimmy Johnson want, set that team. That team was already here. Once he butt heads with Jimmy Johnson, peace, you're out. Barry Switzer just came in and inherited that team, dropped a little bit, but then came back up, won again. And since then, he's like, oh, I want that feeling again. And he keeps trying to, it's like a
Yeah.
drug addict trying to get back to
Yeah.
it, get back to it.
Trying to
And
get
now
it
he's
fixed.
even came out and he's like, listen, I just want to have one Super Bowl again right before then I'll retire. Or
Did
basically he's
you
saying, I want one more before I die. And he's rushing to try and get it done. And this is what you see with some of these teams that aren't very good. For some reason, they try and get a guy that's older, has a resume. They don't bring that resume instantly to the team. So they're like, all right, well, this ain't working out. This guy's not, he's too old or he's not living up to the hype. All right, move on. We'll get this young and up and coming guy. Well, now
Mhm.
he's taking too long. I'm not in it for the long haul. Let's move on. And this is where it's a cycle that these teams that are bad consistently every year. It's not just a random thing that we're seeing the same teams in the top 5 drafting every single year.
So with Jerry Jones, he changed his mind, by the way, Jim. He made an announcement in the past week. He basically said that he wants to have the most
Most, yeah,
championships at it in the league
yeah,
before he retires and hands the team
yeah.
over to his son. So,
Which is if they win one more, right?
Jerry, you got a lot of work to do
Yeah.
because you have a hard enough time staying under the salary cap,
Yeah.
and on top of that, trying to retain players.
Mhm.
So, George Pickens, due to be a free agent, Javonte Williams, who they just got this past season, due to be a free agent. So they're going to cost a pretty penny, especially George Pickens. And
Mhm.
right now, you're well over the salary cap.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, McCarthy's interesting. Again, I would have thought that he would have been in a good spot, at least another interview for the Giants job as well, because I want stability there. I want somebody that
He
has a
is going to
resume
take an
too.
interview there, by the
And
way.
so, yeah. So I think
He
it's
has
worth
an
it.
arrangement.
And there are mixed feelings about it. Some people think that he's just a great coordinator, that he can get it done, with that's where his success came from. But then others that on the outside looking in, a lot of people, well, all right, well, you inherited Holmgren's Green Bay Packers and you did something with them. And then you got, Rodgers and all that too, and has moved on. But then when you took the Cowboys job, you already had, borderline MVP and Dak Prescott, playing at some of his best ball, and that inherited that team. So it feels like he's kind of bandwagoning the team, which I don't feel that way. I mean, you got to be able to have success.
Yeah.
It's not all just on all the players doing it all the time. I mean,
Are we going to start nitpicking and saying, "Oh, well, that coach took over that team and they won a Super Bowl, so it wasn't really his team." You know what I mean? Like, listen,
right, yeah.
coaching is coaching, and it does matter. So, like
Mhm,
Mike
mhm.
McCarthy, he's had success with Green Bay. He's had success with Dallas. It's not like the offense is dipped when he took over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like not
Right.
only was he a head coach, but he was doing 2 jobs. He was the head coach and he was the offensive coordinator and was successful with both.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, Jim. I don't see it the same way other people see Mike McCarthy. All
Mhm.
I know is since I've been watching football, I know Mike McCarthy was pretty much a winner. Like the
Mhm.
guy makes he definitely
And when he
helps
sees that
offenses
things
score
aren't going
points.
well, he's not afraid to make the decisions quick. I mean, I remember he brought in Mike Nolan right away for the defense and was like, "Wow, this guy is like calling plays from Tecmo Bowl." He's like, "I got to get rid of this. This I got to change this already." And he did. And then they started to get better instantly. The offense, which I thought
Right,
even where it fit, I thought their running game was going to kind of vacate, but it didn't. And
right.
they did well. I give him
Mhm.
credit for that with Dallas. So
For
all right,
sure.
so yeah, like after this weekend, it's going to get crazier. So we're excited to see all that and how it unfolds. Wild card weekend, here it is, Joe. Let's get to our picks and kind of
Are we really
go through the games. Why not?
we're gonna skip a couple teams?
What else you got?
The
Well,
Raiders,
we already been
the
on for an
Cardinals.
hour. What do we got? Okay, sure.
Let's
What do
just
you
touch
got?
on
What
them
do you
real
got for the
quick.
Raiders? Sure.
So Jonathan Gannon ends up getting fired. Um, First off, I think it was the wrong move for Arizona. And Jim, you hit the nail on the head when you said that Arizona, like Arizona, there's other teams that are just bad teams all the time because of football decisions. Look at Cliff Kingsbury when he was the head coach. He drafted Kyler Murray. That was his guy. We get that they had a couple of really good seasons underneath him, but then because there was friction between the two, one had to go. The organization chose the head coach had to go. We're going to keep Kyler Murray. When we all seen how that has helped them.
Yeah.
Now they're moving on from Kyler Murray. It's just getting worse. So you fire your head coach. You're moving on from Kyler Murray. You don't have a quarterback. You have a depleted offensive roster. Just when the defense was starting to really become really good, now Gannon's going to be sought after as a defensive coordinator, possibly. I mean, I would not be opposed if any team was like, "Hey, we got our head coach. He's offensive minded. Now we're going to bring in Jonathan Gannon to run our defense." Great, that'd be a great hire. Um, so I completely disagree. The Cardinals still continue to need a lot of personnel, and I think that they just continue to make poor decisions moving forward.
Yeah, and yeah, I think Gannon a good spot too, and again, it might be just because I'm a fan of the Giants and whatnot, but I think it
Yeah,
makes sense too to bring him in, knowing
anywhere.
his experience with the Philadelphia Eagles too,
Right,
and being a former
right.
coach for them. You bring in somebody that has known the other teams to beat teams within your division because
Mhm.
that's your easiest ticket, at least for now, into the playoffs until they decide to say, "Hey, we're going to go like college football and the top 10 teams go or whatever, top rankings and stuff." Uh, that's your quickest ticket, and you're going to see these teams most of your season here in your schedule. So
Yep.
that's who you aim to beat. So to bring in a guy that's familiar with them and a good defensive coordinator, I would try him out there too. But I feel like the same way with him and Raheem Morris, go back to DC, kind of work that out, get successful there. If you want to give it a go again, or if somebody knocks on your door, why not? But if not, stay in your zone, stay in your lane, brother. Whatever is good for you and where you can be successful. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing with Gannon, though, is I believe Gannon deserves another opportunity for a
Mhm.
head coach. Maybe it's not right away in this cycle, but like you said, if he goes to D coordinator, we all know he's a good D coordinator. What's to say that maybe the Eagles say, "Hey, Gannon became available. Let's get rid of our DC, who's
Mhm.
aging, who might not be around for too much longer, Vic Fangio, and we'll
Mhm.
bring back Jonathan Gannon. It'll be like great old times." You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So, I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy. I feel like he's going to be one of those sought after defensive coordinators this cycle, like no other.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what about your Raiders here?
So for the Raiders, good God, thank God they fired Pete Carroll because I was nervous. I wasn't sure if they were going to move on from him or not. I was hoping they would. Finally, they pulled the trigger. I think this is the right move. I know it's a one and done type of thing, and they've done this now. This is probably the second head coach in a row they've done it to. And Antonio Pierce, when he was with the Raiders, he was pretty much one and done.
Mhm.
Now you have Pete Carroll one and done. Let's just face it, Pete Carroll, the game has passed him by. It really
Mhm.
has. And it was no more glaring than this season. his bringing your sons on the staff, that's got to be a huge red flag right there, and them not knowing what to do. Um, for the Raiders, I think going forward, I think the only thing that makes this organization interesting for any kind of coach to take this job is the fact that they got a couple things going for them. One, they got a lot of money under the cap that they can utilize to bring in some high end free agents and help turn this team around. Also, they have a high pick. They got the number one overall pick in the first round, and they got high picks throughout the rest of the draft. So if quarterback is in question, it sounds like they're gonna move on from Geno, but then you get your pick. Whoever takes this job is gonna get their pick of what they want. Most likely it'll be Fernando Mendoza. Um,
Mm.
but again, there's gonna be a lot of work needed to be had in Vegas. So whatever
Yeah.
team they could maybe convince, or whatever coach they could convince to come over and help rebuild this franchise, because that's what it is. It's a rebuild. You can't do what they were hoping to do last season when they hired Pete Carroll and say, "Hey, we're not looking to win in 2 years from now or 3 years from now. We're looking to win now." Be realistic. Don't don't be stupid. You can't turn a team around in one season. So, I think for them, they are gonna be gravitating towards an offensive-minded coach. That's what they want. But again, a guy like Clint Kubiak, I know they've already scheduled the interview, Friday this week to talk to him. And obviously, other teams like Atlanta is gonna be interested and so forth. So, um,
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna be the end result here, and in a terrible cycle for offensive talent. I already like we mentioned earlier, Cliff
Yeah.
Kingsbury, most likely he's going somewhere
Yeah.
already pretty much
Already.
premeditated.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what does that leave you with? Now it leaves you with either Clint Kubiak or maybe you take a flyer on the Rams up and comer, Mike Mike LaFleur. So,
Yeah, it's
and
gotta
if
be an offensive-minded guy again
but
because
if it doesn't work
that's
out,
yeah, it will it again, if you're coming in, you're gonna grab the quarterback, you gotta kinda pair him with somebody, and you gotta kinda keep it long term. And Tom Brady's involved in some of the, looking for who they're gonna get to, and so I think he's gonna try and find a guy that fits what he wants to do and kinda mold a quarterback and start it from there and move forward. The other pieces, you could kinda fit it around. If you can get a good franchise quarterback and get him on turn, you can fit the pieces around him to give him
oh, of
success. And if
course.
you get the right guy to be in his corner right next to him, you can have long-term success. And I think that's where they're going to build it. I think it's funny that you're hearing some of the rumors about Patrick Graham talking to the Commanders. I think
Bye.
that's yeah.
Bye.
Yeah,
Have
I
fun.
know. I'm sure you're excited. Like, yeah,
Have
see ya.
fun.
I don't know. Again, like you said, I don't know where people see that that's a good idea.
The attraction. Where's the
The
attraction?
attraction. I don't see the
A guy
attraction.
that's been with one team for the last 4 years
Mm.
and the defense never got better. Why is that attractive?
Right, right. Yeah, and for Dan Quinn, like I don't like that move at all. Like because you got a good
I
young
love it.
quarterback, you got to keep him healthy. You have something there with the Commanders. Don't ruin it now by making dumb decisions like that, buddy. You know what I mean? This
Mhm.
year was a wash, but we give you credit. The quarterback's done and stuff, but
Yeah.
you can't do moves like that though. That'll get you out pretty quick again.
Yeah,
So.
and that's the problem though with this cycle though, is that there's not a lot of offensive-minded talent. There's just not. So,
Mhm.
worst case scenario, the Raiders don't get
Depending
Clint
on where you
Kubiak.
can look.
The
Yeah.
Raiders don't maybe they're not
Mhm.
even allowed to interview LaFleur. Maybe they just
Mhm.
say, "No, we're not gonna allow him to move over," whatever. But if it's for head coach, that's a big risk, though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, do you have enough balls to just be like, you know what? Screw it. He's been under McVay for years. We have confidence in him. Let's bring him in. But if none of those work out, and this goes for any team looking for an offensive minded guy, like we all know John Harbaugh should be at the top of everybody's list right now because he has an offensive background, which makes all the sense in the world. But if they don't work out, what's the alternative? Now you're gonna have to go to the defensive side, whether you like it or not, and you're gonna have to bring in one of these defensive-minded guys, but then what do you do for the offensive coordinator position?
Mhm.
It's gonna be difficult for teams that get caught behind the 8 ball, so to speak, and then trying to scramble to find somebody to lead the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rise Up's out there. He's got his hot take. If it's coming from Rise Up, I don't think it's really a hot take. Because we've already seen this. Come on, we know it. He says Clinton is coming to Atlanta and Penix. If he is healthy, we'll have a good year. We'll see. We'll see. Why not? That's the whole thing about it. We watch to find out what happens with
Mhm.
these things. It's exciting. What's kind of funny, Joe? I'll say this real quick
Yeah,
before we switch up, though. Uh,
right.
I was joking last night. Got a little crazy. I'm sorry, I wasn't drinking, but I was just joking, and just because of how about John Harbaugh leaving, and it would be great for him to go to Michigan and then be able to beat Ohio State, just because I want Ohio State to lose because I can't stand them and stuff. And now we don't have, we didn't have a head coach. It would been cool.
Mm.
Um, and Rich Eisen brings that up on his show today. He's like, listen, now I've heard, I'm a Michigan fan too, and all my other Michigan fans, John Harbaugh is not taking that job. I'm like, Rich, I know you listen to the show, but I was only joking, You have to take it so literal.
He's like, I'm pretty excited.
How fun it would be just because I get picked on by Mike Tackett all the time about Ohio State beating Michigan and stuff. So, and I thought it'd
All
be
I
cool
have to
because
say,
Jim used to be there and John, so
all I have to say
please
though
take a
is
joke.
guys like Dave Portnoy,
Yeah.
Michigan alum,
Yeah.
great dude. I love the guy. But for him to does he have enough money to lure John there because just like he did
You're
with that quarterback? Because
Yeah.
he spent $11 million on the quarterback that's not even a
It's not
quarterback,
even gonna be yeah.
and it's not looking good right now. Like that
Yeah.
investment looks like terrible.
Yeah,
But
it needs a big
I
better
gotta
business
say,
decisions.
maybe not let Dave Portnoy, you know, direct the recruiting, so to speak. So
Yeah.
I get he
He
wants to
he
help, but come on.
let him select what pizza is served, in
That's
in
right.
Ann Arbor, right?
Go to Ann Arbor, give some reviews.
He's like, "Oh, well, what one bite, that's all you get. You know the
One bite,
rules." Well, you
7
know the
bites
rules.
later.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, best deep dish in Detroit, you know? Here it is. So yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
right.
So there you go. Anyways, wild card weekend. It is wild. It is crazy. Let's go right through the matchups. See who needs to do what to win the game, and let's just do our picks here. We're doing pretty good this year. Um, I tied all the NFL analysts on ESPN. We're not all of them. The top one. Again, I should have beat him though, but like I usually do. But I'm pretty proud of myself this year too, despite all the craziness. But the Broncos and the Seahawks all get a rest this week. So that means we've got these tough games here. Let's get right to it. How about the Los Angeles Rams? The sixth seed now, right? The fifth seed going against the Carolina Panthers. So they get to face the Panthers here at home, where the Panthers have already beaten them this year. So
Mhm.
questions with me is the Rams stop the run. All right. You can't let these two guys, I know these two backs, between Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, they can get it done. And if Bryce Young is on point here, this could be a difficult game because this defense too likes to play hard, especially at home. So LA, Matthew Stafford needs to be the Matthew Stafford that we've seen traditionally throughout the league this year so far. Safe with the ball, make him keep plays, get it to Puka Nakua. Parkinson out there too has been making plays. So get it, dish the ball around. Do not turn the ball over, because when he does, again, it just seems like he has a nightmare game every now and then, and this cannot be it. He cannot have this nightmare game. One thing I will say is last year it wasn't so good for him. I think weather was in play. This year should be fine. Carolina, I mean, come on. So I think this would be good for him. I think the Rams can kind of come back after that sour taste in their mouth here and get a victory against the Carolina Panthers that, let's just face it, they're a surprise team. They played better than we thought they were, but still even some more questions to be answered in the following years.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see a lapse with Stafford. I mean, this is playoff time now. It's time to hunker down and just flat out destroy whoever's in front of you. So the Rams got too much firepower. Bottom line, they got everything. They got a great young defense. They're coming to play in this one. There's no lack of focus. There's none of that. Panthers are going to be in for a rude awakening in this matchup. They're going to be overwhelmed. I know the Panthers beat the Rams before, but that was regular season. You gotta be honest with yourselves. You are lucky to make it to the playoffs. You basically backed into the
Backed
playoffs. You
into
were
it.
lucky to win the division. And now it's Rams show. It's the Rams show. This is a team that we midway through the season, we were just like, wow, is this the best team in football right now? Because they were
Mhm.
super impressive. And yeah, they've tripped up a couple times here and there, but now it's a different season. It's playoff football where it's sudden death. Give me the Rams in this one. This is not going to be. I don't think this is going to be that much of a game. To be honest with you, I think that the Rams, once they start to get a lead, they're just going to continue to pour it on. And even though the Panthers defense is pretty stingy at times, it's the only thing early on in the game. I think it might be a little slow, but then as soon as the Rams start to get rolling, start to figure some things out, make some adjustments, I look for the Rams to
All
easily
right.
win it.
All right. Next, let's stick with the NFC side. We got the San Francisco 49ers, who didn't look good in that last game, and now they're settling here at 6, and they're going to face off against a tough Philadelphia Eagles team, but a team where they seem like their identity's all over the place. One week they can run the ball, the next week they can, then they're getting to A.J. Brown, and then they're not. And Jalen Hurts, safe numbers, but not really spectacular. So Brock Purdy, I still think it looks good. I think this is the best Brock Purdy that we've seen even so far moving into the playoffs. So I'm confident about that. The defensive side of the ball, they've been playing well despite all the injuries and then the people leaving too as well on top of it. So that's kind of a surprise for me. And how quickly San Francisco was able to turn it around from a terrible season last year with all the injuries that they had, but continuing injuries this year, no wide receivers for the first half. Quarterback was missing for a few games too. On top of it, they're found their way back into this one. It's tough. It's Kyle Shanahan versus Vic Fangio. It's gonna be a really tough matchup in Philly. I don't like their chances here, but I'm gonna roll with the San Francisco 49ers on this one to kind of upset the Eagles here. I'm hoping. At
Gotcha.
least.
I mean, there's a couple of things that are going against the Niners in
Oh, I
this
know.
one. The last game of the season. I mean, I don't know what I watched. I
Yeah.
really don't. Team that did not look the same 2 weeks prior. So I don't know what to expect from the Niners. Obviously, they're going to be prepared. Kyle Shanahan's been in the playoffs before. He has experience, calling these games and whatnot. The Niners, they need to step up, not just bring their A game, but they can't make mistakes. You're traveling to Philly. You can't make mistakes there. Hostile environment. You know that stadium's going to be rocking. The Eagles also, I feel like they're, even though they've been kind of the same in the same light as the Niners, like there's times when they look really good, and then there's times where you're like, what's going on?
Mhm.
So both teams, I'll give the edge to the Eagles in this one because one, they're home. Two, we
Mhm.
don't even know what the weather is going to be. It could
Mhm.
be a disaster. It could be snowing. It could be rain. It could just be ice cold. So I don't know. It definitely will affect the Niners coming in and to play in that hostile environment. I think that this is going to be a really close game. Really close game. It's probably going to come right down to the end on this one, but I think the Eagles get the edge.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of talent out there. They're just not
Yeah.
the dominating team that we kinda saw last year
Right.
and things like that. So, I mean, it's
Right.
tough.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy is this team could be there the whole time. We're looking at them. We know who they are, but we just are like kinda in about them, and then they just kinda roll through it, and now they're in the Super Bowl, and we're like, "Huh, here they are again. Should
All
we
I
be
know is
surprised?"
all I know is Rise Up had to say the Panthers better thank the fucking Falcons for getting them in.
Mm.
I don't think you're gonna get that thank you.
That shows you the difference between like Bills Mafia fans and like the Panthers fans, right?
Yeah.
Panthers fans should have donated to somebody out there or something to the Falcons,
Right?
right? Something. Hey, thanks. We did it. Thank you.
Right.
Nope, nothing, nothing. Not
Not
even
a
a
thing.
cake, something. Come on. All right. So next up is sticking with the NFC side, we've got the Green Bay Packers and
Oh,
the
what a
Chicago
game.
Bears. This is gonna
What
be
a
a great
game.
game.
It's gonna be
Jordan
an
Love
awesome game.
coming back too for some rest and trying to get healthier too. That team that just I really like Matt LaFleur and what he's done just altogether as a coaching job for Green Bay.
Mhm.
Jordan Love, he's got a lot of questions to be answered on this one. He's a one and done type of quarterback here. Doesn't have a lot of playoff success. First time here for the Bears in a long time. And,
Mhm.
Ben Johnson's first time as a head coach with this team, Caleb
Crazy.
Williams getting into it. He's he going to have a little bit of jitters. He's going to make a lot of mistakes. Well, that's what Green Bay on the defense side of the ball needs to do. They need to try and pressure him and try to keep him contained. Don't let him run lateral to the outsides and get out in bootlegs, because that's where he's been having some of those nice throws, bullet throws, right into
Even
having
runs.
success. Kind of keep them in the pocket, kind of get rattled a little bit, and kind of make some mistakes. That's what you need to do for Green Bay. But I feel like Chicago, really, you got to attack on the ground game, run the ball effectively, get it open, and have them be afraid of what you got there. You got a great young back there, plus DeAndre Swift still there making some plays for you. Open that up, play good defense, a defense that likes to turn the ball over. We've seen Jordan Love do that, especially in the playoffs. So look for the Bears trying to attempt to do that. But that being said, man, I really like the Bears at home, but I'm really hoping for the Packers though. For some reason I just don't want the Bears to win this game.
For some reason, it's
I just don't know
unfamiliar
what it is.
territory.
Maybe that's what
What
it
it
is.
is.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to
We're
commit
not
yet.
we're not ready for the Bears to be in the
Yeah.
playoffs right now.
Yeah.
We didn't even
That's what it
think this
is.
was going to be possible, even though they had one of the best coaches or offensive minds, I'll say, to come into the being his rookie year as a head coach. I didn't think he was going to turn around this fast. But
Yeah.
man, Ben Johnson has been a pleasant surprise for Chicago fans out there. Now they're in there, and not only are they in the playoffs, but they are a high seed in the playoffs, getting them at least in round one, their home game. The Packers and Bears, this is a long time rivalry that now is leading them into the playoffs. This is going to be truly an amazing game to watch. I feel it, and I don't know what it is. Whenever I watch the Bears, for some strange reason, they could be they could be the best team in football, and for some strange reason, I feel like it's the most boring game I'm watching. They could have the most exciting plays, and I just not into it. But hopefully, this one is a lot different. I like the Packers. I like what they've been able to do. Jim, I gotta say, there's a little bit, little bit of talk about if Green Bay loses this game, though, that Matt LaFleur might get the axe.
That yeah.
I don't believe it,
I don't believe it either. I
but I'm
mean,
just saying that there's a little bit of chatter that they might make a move. As and here's the other thing: is could this be another team that we never saw in the rear view of maybe pursuing a guy like John Harbaugh because he's available? I
mm,
just saying that there has been teams that have been calling the agent even up to this point that are just kicking the tires. Yeah, they might not be moving on from their guy that they have, but they're kicking the tires to see, hey, how much is he looking for? Like, is he interested in this position? So, just something to keep an eye out. I don't think it's going to happen, but
well,
might as well
it
throw it out
might be
there.
one of those teams that's just greedy, because they're saying that the team would say, "Hey, we want you to commit before we pull the trigger on our guy." So
Right,
that's somebody that's
right.
happy what they got, but still, is there better? Like,
Right.
ugh, yeah, you know what I mean? So,
Well,
and if it is
yeah,
somebody like Green Bay, if you put Matt LaFleur and you put John Harbaugh together, for me as a Giants
mhm,
fan,
yeah,
I am probably going to go with Matt LaFleur over John Harbaugh,
okay.
just because I think longevity, he's a lot younger for
Well, he's
one,
younger,
but
yeah,
still the
yeah,
success is even there. He hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, but I like what he brings to it. Offensive minded guy. I think he would be able to work with Jackson Dart on top of that too. And he had, yeah, success. And I would probably pick him over Hardball. And,
right.
and so,
I
I
got you.
mean, so
I got you. But I
that's what
mean,
kind of
that's the thing.
caliber he is.
It's something to throw at the wall, see if it sticks. Who knows? Maybe it's true. Maybe it's completely fabricated. But something to just bring up.
Mhm,
So for this game, to be honest with you, I've I'm still to this day, I'm not a huge Caleb Williams fan. Like, he's
mhm.
proven me wrong. He has gotten better, especially under Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson has worked wonders with him. In one season, Caleb Williams looks vastly different than what he did a year prior. And I give all the kudos to Ben Johnson, because how could you not? It's his play calling, it's his creativeness, it's his teaching methods. Um, but enough about the Bears. Talk about the
Mhm.
Packers.
Yeah,
Packers are a Micah Parsons less
less. Mhm.
player away from this defense being still. I mean, they're still good, But man, there was a huge difference when Parsons was in there creating that pass rush. So how bad is it going to be for Micah sitting on the sidelines watching this game? I feel bad for the guy, but this is still a good defense. This is still a tough team. My worry is, what Jordan Love are we going to see? If we see the Jordan Love that we're not, I can't say used to seeing because he's been very sporadic this season. But if we see the Jordan Love bring his A game and is just dotting it up left and right to all his receivers, Chicago on defense doesn't have an answer. This game, I feel like, is going to be in favor with the Packers. But if we see the other side of them that no Green Bay Packer fan wants to see, it could be a one and done in the playoffs. I still like the experience. The Packers have been there. They're a young team. I just something tells me that I think the Packers pull this one out. Even though it's in Chicago, in a hostile environment that they normally do play in.
Mm.
I just something tells me I'm going to go with the Packers on this one.
All right, let's move on to the AFC side of the ball now. The Steelers, who backdoored into it too, like they
The
should never
Wheelers.
got away
Got it.
win that win. And they actually get to host a game against the Houston Texans, where they're young, up and coming, like the head coach. The quarterback's good. The defense is great. They turn the ball over. I could see this being a very frustrating game for Aaron Rodgers. You saw it against the Baltimore team to where some of their defenders were just running into each other and dropping like flies, and they still couldn't really get this offense going. Yes, they didn't have DK Metcalf, so he can come back this week, and that'll be good for them to kind of help it going. And they're going to try and spread the ball around between Jalen Warren and Gainwell, and get Gainwell involved in the passing game, which we saw. That's the only thing that kind of got him going last week. A little bit of Freiermuth on a deeper route, but Gainwell's their guy, kind of to kind of get that offense going for him. It's so bad for them. They went and grabbed Adam Thielen, MVS. This is the thing when you get an Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't trust younger guys and doesn't want to take the time to work with them. So give me somebody older that kind of can talk the same language too. Talking about the same things because we're old guys. We read the newspaper. And so I'm looking at this Texans team. They need to stay hungry. They can't kind of fall off on this one, which we've seen them do in the playoffs too. They kind of got hosed last year too with how many penalties got thrown against them with that Chiefs game. I think they're amped up about that too, ready to play. They're going to come.
They got
no excuses. And so I'm liking the Houston Texans on this one to put the squash down on this one. Maybe the coffin for Aaron Rodgers and Tomlin together.
I'll say this about the Texans. They're one of the hottest teams that nobody wanted to face in the AFC. I'm going to be honest.
This defense, dangerous.
Early on in the season, didn't look so good, did it? You saw this offense struggle. CJ Stroud didn't look like he was rebounding from a year ago. The injuries mounted up. Nobody else was stepping up to make some plays. It was like Nico Collins or bust. Now this offense looks vastly different. You got Woody Marks, who is sending a rookie, starting to really kind of really get it all down. You got Nick Chubb, who he's in a contract year, rightfully so, but he's also been contributing to this offense. And then we talk about the other rookies that are stepping up. Jaden Higgins. Oh my God, this guy looked like he was going to be terrible all year. And with the constant work that they've put in, Nico Collins, CJ Stroud, they've managed to create some chemistry. And now you're starting to he's starting now. Like he's definitely a part of the offense, and Stroud is trusting him more and more as every week goes by. This is a team that we already knew the defense was good. But the crazy thing is we didn't envision how much better the defense got as the season went. This is a team that's overcome a lot. And offensively, getting hot at the right time, late in the season, going right into these playoffs, the Steelers, even though it's in Pittsburgh, it's a tough place to play. But Pittsburgh better be all on their P's and Q's on this one. Because I'll tell you right now, the Steelers are in for a rough game here. Steelers, I know, can be physical, but again, they're also aging. And if the Texans, which are they have one of the best secondaries in the league, let alone their defense. Good luck, DK. Because guess what? You're getting double teamed. Yeah. You're not going to be a factor in this game. The Texans are going to make sure of it. and that's
Mhm.
going to hinder this offense with Aaron Rodgers. So I think that as long as the Texans offensively can kind of, even if they got a double team, TJ Watt, keep him out of it. Don't let him get to Stroud. Do whatever you have to and just do what you've been doing. Texans to me is going to win this game. I think they're going into Pittsburgh and they're going to make a statement to the rest of the league.
All right. Next, we've got the Buffalo Bills going into Jacksonville to face the Jags, who are one of the hot teams out there, too. They just dominated an easy game.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is a tough game because this defense is playing really good. You've got Trevor Lawrence that's getting available with his legs moving around, getting it out to newly acquired, Jacoby Myers there, passing the ball around, running the ball effectively. But the Buffalo Bills, we know it's just ride or die with Josh Allen. He still
Mhm.
doesn't have the talent at wide receiver.
Around him.
The
No.
defense not playing so well either. You've got some aging guys there, and Buffalo's record here into the playoffs on the road, they've got the second most losses on the road in the playoffs. Their record is not very good, only
No.
to the Detroit Lions, who has 10 losses in the road games in the playoffs. So doesn't bode well for them moving forward here. And I wouldn't be surprised if, again, the Buffalo Bills do go into Jacksonville and just lay an egg. I think it's gonna be a tight game. I don't think it's gonna be just a blowout and then now Jacksonville just blows them out or anything like that. But
Mhm.
I can see them coming up short in this first week. And then we're maybe talking about McDermott being gone.
Maybe.
So I'm taking the Jacksonville Jags in this one. They're the hot team. They're rolling through here. I'm looking to see what they're made of too. They've done it before. Let's see them do it again.
Just like we're talking about the Texans and how hot they were, the Jaguars were just as hot. I mean, this is a team and Trevor Lawrence, I gotta say, Liam Cohen, again, another rookie head coach with an offensive mind, has completely changed this offense, has changed the mindset of Trevor Lawrence, allowing him to be more free, allowing him to be able to be a mobile quarterback, not just a pocket quarterback. And that's where you're seeing a huge difference with his game. No longer is he restricted saying, "Hey, no, you stay in the pocket, you stay protected, and you deliver the football." If now Liam Cohen's there and he's like, "Hey, listen, if there's nothing there and you see a path, take it. Go get 4 or 5 yards. Go get the first down with your legs. I don't care. As long as you don't take a beating, everything's good." And that's the other thing too that Trevor Lawrence has done an extremely good job is not taking unnecessary hits even when he is out there running. So this is a team that has greatly benefited from their new appointed coach and this new direction on offense. Even we saw the reemergence of Travis Etienne, who typically was getting injured every year since he got drafted. And then all of a sudden, hey, look, yeah, he got banged up this year. He might have missed a game or two, but he's still there. He's ready to go in the playoffs. So we already knew how good the Jaguars defense was. It just needed an offense. Now it has it. And this is a hot team, like Jim mentioned. The Buffalo Bills, on the other hand, not so hot. They've had to scrape, claw their way to where they are now. And it hasn't been easy. Josh Allen, if he doesn't have the perfect game, this team struggles and ends up losing. And I wonder and I worry about for Buffalo fans, like if you don't have any other receivers stepping up besides Khalil Shakir, this game could already be decided. You need other guys to step up. Where's Keon Coleman? Where's this first round draft pick that you guys took?
Yeah.
Everybody said, "Oh no, just wait, give him another year, give him another year." The dude drops footballs.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Bills team in the offseason, how they needed to address wide receiver. They still don't have an outside guy that they can have a playmaker, and I don't know
Yeah.
what the Bills are doing. I don't know what the direction is. I think it's a little lost at this point. I
Yep.
think that's the reason why they're going to go into Jacksonville and get the L.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. It should be interesting to watch, and we'll see what happens when it all comes down. And now we've got the New England Patriots at home facing off against the Chargers. Chargers getting back to the playoffs. First time the Patriots have been there in a bit. Uh, they're one of the
Well, I
surprise teams too,
been a
just to
while
kind
for
of
the
turn around.
Chargers.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a while for they were there last year though, weren't they? They made the playoffs last year.
I don't remember them being in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah, I think they did, but they were just like a one and done again. They didn't go far. But you got the Patriots that weren't expected to make the playoffs this year. We were hoping that they were going to do well. We were thinking they could do better. Under Vrabel, it was a better hire than what they had before. So but to turn around this fast, Drake May looks great. He's in the conversation for MVP right now, especially the way he was playing the last couple of weeks too, to where we've seen kind of Stafford kind of go down a little bit and up. And so I think that keeps that race a lot more interesting. And the switch over, the changing of guard between Ramondre Stevenson to Trevion Henderson. Henderson just really kind of took the ball and left once you saw Ramondre just kind of coughed the ball up a little too much. And then they give this young guy a shot and boom, look at what he's doing. So now they're running both backs here and there on top of, Drake May dishing it down to his wide receivers. That defense all balanced around playing, he kind of grabbed guys too that not people that nobody wanted, but really Patriot like to where, hey, I'm going to grab this good guy that nobody really talks about here, or this guy here,
A
and this guy
solid
there.
player.
And just solid players and make them play at their best and kind of even give them that false sense like, hey, nobody really wanted you or this and this, or wow, you guys are all together as a brotherhood unit. We're playing together, and if we do this, I've been there before as a player, I've been there as a coach. Stick with me and we can go far. And they bought in. And this is what this team is doing. What they, I think, as the number 4 team. I mean, that's a scary spot, right? Or no, number 2, their second ranked team in here, but they're a scary spot here, and they've got a good shot to move in on a team to the Chargers where Justin Herbert. Again, liking the rest he got a little bit for his hand, but I mean, there is a bit of a difference when he's got just the one hand going. That offensive line still gives up way too many hits on Justin Herbert. That's why he's got the busted up hand and everything too. I mean, so, and the wide receiving position still is a little suspect for me, so, I mean, they're a run first team as well. You got Amari and Hampton back there too. So if the team does get down early against like a Patriots team, if they start pouring it on, they could get out of this game pretty quickly. So I'm taking the Patriots here at home.
I don't think there's a if in this, whether they pour it on or not. I think the Patriots have been so decisive. They've been so good at being able to run their offense, no matter who they play against that defense. Drake May has been better than expected, to be honest. Like, I didn't think he would be an MVP candidate already, but here we are. The discussions are being had, and this is a Patriots team that, with Mike Vrabel leading the charge here, I mean, they've done wonders. The personnel department, the front office have been doing an excellent job in the offseason. And now you combat that with the fact that you have a great coaching staff, and look at what has done for this team. They've literally turned their franchise completely around, and then, like you mentioned, they're a second seed in the playoffs. Almost had the first seed, almost. But again, this is another one of those AFC teams that you do not want to play right now. They are a very good team from top to bottom. I gotta say, the Chargers are in for a long day at work. They really are. You mentioned the injuries with the offensive line. That does come into play 100%. And this is a Patriots defense that does not give up yardage easily. You got to wonder about the Chargers, what their game plan is, because it can't just be, hey, we're going to run the ball a lot, because I don't think that's going to be the answer. That they're going to have to be able to open up the playbook, let Herbert throw the football, and ease up the pressure that the Patriots are going to try to put on. If they don't do that, I feel like they're going to be down not only just early, but I feel like the game will get away from them really quickly. So I gotta say, I'm going to stick with the Patriots on this one. It's kind of a no-brainer to me. I will be absolutely shocked if somehow, some way, the
Yeah.
Chargers win this game.
Yeah.
I will.
Yep.
But otherwise, it's New England all day.
Yep. Haters gotta hate. Haters are out there too, saying, "Hey, who did they beat? And this and this and down and down." Well, we'll see. We'll see come playoff time who comes to show up and who doesn't. We've seen upsets too, so I mean, it'll be interesting. It's wild card weekend. It is a wild weekend. We're excited to check it out, so we're excited to talk about it too next week when it all goes down and talk about it with you guys. But in order for you guys to do that, you guys should just subscribe to the show. Joe, why don't you guys tell these guys how to just easily just subscribe to the show?
It's simple. I'm pretty sure they're smart enough to figure
probably
it
know
out. You
already.
just head over to YouTube for us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. It's just a click away, absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything. And we want to see you guys be part of this community. We're trying to build this football community of ours. And as you can see in the comments, we've had several people that have commented all throughout the show. It's a lot of fun that way. We get to have good conversations, be interactive with you guys out there. This is not the typical show where all you do is watch the show and that's it. We
Mhm.
want you to be part of it. So we'll see you guys in the next one. But do your homework. Be ready with some questions next week.
All right. See you guys.